Salutatis Skipoli. This is a video for chapter 33. It's the first video. Um, part of this will be about participles, and the other part will be about the translation. We're going to do part of the translation in the video here. We should have gotten through lines 1 through 10 in class, and I want to try to finish up the first page going through line 15, 11 to 15. So you need page 49 open on your book, and we can get started then. So again, we're doing chapter 33, page 49, lines 11 through 15. So hopefully we'll get to see a couple participles in here so that we can sort of segue into the next thing. Into the next topic, which is participles. So let's start with line 11. Dum convivi haec spectant extra triclinium magnus tumultus auditor. There's lots of stuff happening in this sentence. So I want to start with my adverb, while. While what? While the guests, that's my nominative. Now you need to look around for a verb, a plural verb, and you stumble upon one with spectant. So while the guests are watching, now what are they watching? Look around for an accusative, and you might not actually find something that looks like an accusative because it's hike. Hike, if you look at your heek, hike, hoke chart, it is accusative in the neuter. So while the guests watch this, now you should look back into your lines 1 through 10 translation to see what this really is, kind of fitting with the context. They're watching this, and now we need to start a new clause. So magnus tumultus. While the guests are watch this, that is the first clause. Second clause, a great noise, a loud noise, let's say a loud commotion. A loud commotion, auditor. This is a passive verb. So instead of saying a loud commotion is hearing, since commotions can't be heard, we want to say can't hear, sorry. We want to say that a loud commotion is heard, to make that commotion being the thing that's receiving the action of hearing. We are hearing it. But instead of saying that, they use a passive verb. A loud commotion is heard where? Extra triclinium, outside the dining room. Subito in triclinium magno cum strepitu irrumpet Titus Cornelius. Suddenly, start there with our adverbs. Suddenly, in the dining room. Why don't we just get that prepositional phrase taken care of? Magno cum strepitu. Imagine this is cum magno strepitu with a great or loud strepitu noise. With a great noise, we need a nominative here. We still haven't gotten a subject. Titus Cornelius, the uncle, and Cornelius's brother. Irrumpet, he bursts in, he interrupts. Let's say bursts in. And on to the next paragraph. Musant convivi, the guests mutter. Cor Titus, noster. Why is our Titus solet? There's my verb. Accustomed. Now, we can't just say, why is he accustomed, and move on. We need to know what he's accustomed to, so we need to look around for an infinitive. Get what we have. Why is our Titus accustomed to what? to venire, to coming or arriving late. Sero. There's a little adverb there. And neque is and not. Let's polish this up a little bit. And without ever, umquam, excusing or apologizing or any of those things. Say himself. And that's a question, sorry. At Titus and Titus. Slowly, it's lente, slowly walking to his place. He says, hello, salute, right? All my friends, hello, everyone. Let's add the friends, my, into the friends part so it makes a little more sense. Add the he says, and someone says hello, salve mi frater. Now, he's still talking, but he switched gears a little bit. He's talking to just one person, mi frater, my brother. And his brother is Cornelius, our Cornelius, Gaius Cornelius. Amico quidam in popina occuri. Now, do they give you any notes? Let's see. Give you a little bit for popina. We can call it a bar. So occuri, I met, or I happened upon, but I met, I think sounds better for us. I met a certain friend in the bar. That's a little bit vague, but there you have it, 11 to 15. I want to just talk about this friend here for a second. It has a dative ending, and we didn't put a 2 or 4 on it. That's just because the verb occori, the I met part, requires a dative. So it's nothing weird and grammatical. It's just, well, it is weird and grammatical, but it's not an actual dative, even though it has a dative ending. We use it as the object of the verb, so we use it as accusative, but it looks dative only because the verb occori requires it to be like that. Now, we didn't really see any perfect passive participles, but we did see a present participle, and it functions pretty much the same way. It's just it is a present instead of perfect. So we want to look at what this is doing. And Titus slowly walking to his place. This is describing Titus as walking. So what we are going to be looking at here is verbal adjectives or participles this chapter. I call them verbal adjectives. So we're using a verb as an adjective, or we can call them adjectival verbs. Our grammar lingo allows us to do either one that we want. So it's totally up to you. But as long as you know it is a verb used as an adjective. So we're describing someone using the action that they're doing. So the walking girl, the walking Titus, the running man. So it helps describe a noun, just like any other adjective, but we're using the action that they're doing in order to do that. So the ones we're talking about in this chapter are perfect passive participles. So that means they're perfect. So they happen before. They need a have translation. And in this case, it's going to be having. A lot of times participles have an ing. The passive part requires that I have a been in there, like we were doing last chapter. Perfect passive system verbs. So like she has been walking. She will have been walking. We need some sort of tense sign and then a been to make it passive. And then we need whatever the verb is and then an ed. this is your literal translation of a perfect passive participle, having been whatevered. Um, so a lot of times they use the example in your book, quoquas vocatus. So woco, vocare, vocavi, vocatus is to call. Quoquas, quoqui is the cook, like the person cooking. So um, we have the cook, and then we're going to translate our vocatus as a perfect passive participle because that's what it is. So looking up at our translation up here, the cook having been called.